Hi, I'm Mr. Carmichael, and today we're going to talk about how to pick out an instrument. I was thinking about this, and if you're at home and you wanted to play an instrument and you wanted to get your family together to play instruments, but you didn't have anything around, it kind of reminded me of when my family goes camping. When we go camping, we don't usually take our instruments with us, but sometimes when we're sitting around the campfire, we want to make music, and so we'll kind of look for anything that we can find around the campsite to make music with. And today we're going to talk about that. So before we do that, I want to talk about the 4 questions. The questions that you're going to want to ask whenever you're selecting an instrument. The first one is it safe? You always want to ask a parent to make sure that you can use something as an instrument before you play. Sometimes moms and dads and guardians can get kind of upset when you use things that they don't want you to use. So make sure that you ask first. Make sure that it's safe. Number 2, you want to know, will it last? If I take a cardboard box and if I hit it with a stick, it's probably not going to last very long. So that's another thing you're going to want to ask. The next thing is, do I like how it sounds? It's no fun to play an instrument if you don't like how it sounds, if you don't like the kind of noises that it makes. And then the last question is it fun to play? Sometimes you can find something that sounds really cool, but it's not really fun. It's a little bit difficult or it's a little bit too heavy. So we'll talk about all those kinds of things and as we do this today. So I've picked some things up from around my house that you might have at your house and just want to ask those questions. Is it safe? Will it last? Do I like how it sounds? And is it fun to play? So the first thing that I'm going to pull out, I found a metal ring in my garage that I don't use very much. And I was thinking, well, could I use this as an instrument? Well, first of all, is it safe? Well, it's safe if I take good care of it. If I don't throw it or do anything crazy with it, it's probably pretty safe. It's smooth. It's not going to hurt anybody. And then I was thinking, okay, well, what kind of noises could I make with it? So I was like, okay. Well, that by itself sounds kind of neat. I like how it rings. And then I added this to it. I found an old brush that was laying out there. And when I put the two together, I thought that makes a really nice sound. So is it safe? Yes. Will it last? I think it'll definitely last. Do I like how it sounds? I do. And is it fun to play? It was really fun to play. So this might be something fun that you could find around your house. Another thing I found was the box that you saw just a minute ago. Boxes can be really cool, but I want to make sure that I don't want to hit it with a stick or with this brush because that might tear the box up and then I wouldn't have an instrument to play anymore. But if I use my fingers, I can make some really cool sounds out of it. So just by using my finger, I can make some really fun drumming sounds. Or maybe use the other side. Makes a nice low sound. So all kinds of things that you could experiment with a box. I found a couple of pieces of wood that came in a package that I got some time ago. And I was thinking about maybe how I could use these as an instrument. So I thought, well, number one, they're both pretty safe. They're not rough, and I don't think there's any splinters in these. And I thought about maybe I could just use it as a drum. Well, it doesn't really sound like a drum, but I kind of like the clicking noise that it makes. Could also maybe use that brush in, see if that sounds any different. That's kind of fun. So if I put that one down here, what if I took the two and I hit them together? That makes a really fun sound. But is it safe? I don't know. I could see maybe me pinching my fingers if I treated it that way. So maybe I wouldn't do it that way. What if I rubbed the pieces together? That could also make a really cool sound. The next thing is I found a metal cover from a box that I'd used a long time ago. And I thought this might make kind of a fun metal triangle kind of sound. Also sounds really cool, I think, with the brush. And for a shaker kind of sound, I found an old game that had some dice in it. And I would probably want to make sure that I ask my family that they're not going to use this anymore. I don't want to break something like this, but it makes a really fun shaking sound. It's kind of loud. An old jar. I think this one had different kinds of nuts in it. And to use this one also could be fun to use as a drum. So we could hit the side or the bottom, the side here. Ooh, do you hear the difference in sounds? And then the top. Or, this is such a hard plastic, I could probably use a stick on this one and see if that sounds good. That sounds kind of fun. I like that sound too. How about the lid? So, another nice idea for playing an instrument. This one might be my favorite. I thought about what do we have laying around most? Probably rocks and sticks from outside. And I found a couple that were pretty clean. And I was really surprised at how cool they sound whenever I used them as an instrument. It's got a really nice sound to those two rocks. And then, finally, the bucket that I put everything in. Buckets are so great because they already look like a drum, and whenever you hold them, you can play them like a drum, or on the side. Well, I like the rattle whenever I heard the handle on that one, or I wonder what it would sound like if I played the handle. Oh, also really, really fun. So, any of these things that you find around your house, you could use as an instrument. And in just a second, you're going to see my family and I using some of these instruments to play and make music together. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it was fun. And we look forward to seeing what kind of music you can make with what you find at your house.